Hey, everybody, welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. It is a beautiful, beautiful Thursday, May 29th. Guys, it's hard to believe we are already on the cusp of June. We talked about Mayflowers. What is it? April showers bring Mayflowers. Those May showers bring June flowers. OTAs, flowers. It's a great time to be alive, guys. Kenny Pickett counting OTA reps, statting them out. Myles Garrett's in Japan. A lot going on in the world, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns are all over the world, literally. We got a couple different Browns topics as well for segment one here. Some fun stuff. Stephon Diggs was on a boat, too. I don't know if anyone caught that, so we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Are you going to comment more on what he was doing on that boat?
Yeah, I don't know what that pink stuff was, but I got some questions for you guys. Stick around for the end of the segment. But yeah, we got that. World of T-Shirts, our good friend and guest of the show, friend of the program, we can say, actually. Might have had a little slip up and broken his leg. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to cover today.
Well, you are a resident leg breaker expert. So when we get to that, I'll have some questions for you, Jack.
Yeah, I can take you through the recovery process.
Nick, what's up, dude?
What's up, guys?
You've had a long couple days, bro.
Absolutely beat. It has been a long couple days. It's been a fun couple of days with the Colleague Companies crew. Kind of been traveling around with them a bit. Ty Dillon in town, friend of Big Play Cleveland. But getting everybody geared up for this June, colleaguegolf.com, go get your tickets. Big Factor is going to be out there in the Infinity Zone. I feel like we had a ton of fun last year, and it was kind of just like a feel out year, but I feel like this year we could really go hamster with it.
Go hamster. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, that's a new one.
All right, guys. OTAs. The talk of the town. Mandatory minicamp for teams. That's not till June 10th. Right now, it's voluntary. You guys know where I'm going with this. Myles Garrett, star edge rusher for our Cleveland Browns, absent from voluntary minicamp. The first portion, of course, of that. Where was Myles Garrett? Where in the world? Well, he was in Japan with his girlfriend. I don't want to jump to assumptions. His lady friend. I'll put it that way. American snowboarder Chloe Kim, who has a lot of accomplishments of her own. Honestly, I went through Wikipedia. It seems like she has more accomplishments than Myles, actually. They were at the the Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
Crunchyroll.
And she was a presenter, so Myles was there supporting the wifey.
Oh, that's valid.
And a lot of people didn't like the fact that Myles Garrett was not there. A lot of people go back to when Jimmy Haslam and Barry, they basically challenged his leadership when he signed that extension. Said he wants to be the best player on Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays, whenever the Browns play, Saturdays, in London, in America, wherever it is, they want Myles Garrett to be that leader, of course, the captain of the team. But some people didn't like the fact that Myles Garrett was absent. I don't know. Are one of you guys those people?
Yeah, I am. Is it inherently a big deal? No. Do I think Myles Garrett's live sack line for next season should change because he's in Japan in the middle of May? No, probably not. But there is a certain thing about that when you become a leader in a locker room, and he's been a guy who's one of the most long-tenured vets on the team. When you get that kind of money, like, the classic phrase, to whom much is given, much is exalted, like, you got to go out there and prove it and be a leader, especially because the Browns, like, the most important position in football, your leader is the quarterback, right? And you went out there and you spent $72 million a year on this guy to be a leader, and he's out wherever during the season. So, like, there wasn't, like, a great culture last year, right? You got to kind of reset it. You're asking Myles to get a lot of money. He said it wasn't about the money. It was about winning. He decides, whatever, I'm going to stick in Cleveland. He's got to be around to set that culture early, man. I really do believe that.
Honestly, I couldn't care less. I really don't care at all. Obviously, like Jack just said, Myles is going to be Myles. And what we've learned is Myles really is who he is. I mean, he's had his mishaps. He's had his struggles. He's had his problems. I didn't say it. You did. But I don't think Myles is really a leader. He's the best player on the team does not always mean leader. Most talent doesn't mean best leader. So I really think, at this point, if they really want him to be that guy, we're kind of digging down, we're just never going to find the gold. We're never going to find the treasure. He's not that guy. He's going to show up. He's going to get you X amount of sacks every year. But if you're looking for this vocal leader, he's an introvert guy. He's really just not going to step up and be that dude that you want him to be. So you really need to look elsewhere.
Well said on all accords. I mean, full stop, Myles Garrett isn't a leader. And I know what Jimmy Haslam said when they gave him that extension. They wanted to see his career advance in the leadership department. He's not a leader. That's like going to McDonald's and hoping to come out with a six-pack. He's not. That's just not in his DNA. It's not in his makeup. It never has been. It never will be. Jimmy Haslam mentioned specifically practice habits when talking about Myles Garrett. it's clear now. And if it wasn't clear before the trade request, it should be abundantly clear to everyone now. Myles Garrett cares about Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett and his girlfriend have something in common, and that's they both play individual sports. Myles cares about racking up his stat numbers. He cares about getting sacks because he believes that's how he helps the team win. And we've seen Myles, by doing that, has helped the Cleveland Browns win, but he cares about his personal performance, I think, over the team performance. That's how he's been throughout his career. He had valued the defensive player of the year above the Super Bowl prior to the trade request. Then the trade request comes down and now he cares about the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter that he's not there. No, it doesn't matter. But I do think there's something to be said. It's kind of like, you make the real world comparison, and it's hard to do for somebody that's making $40 million a year. But if the average Joe at their daily, desk job, if their boss tells them that they need more out of them from a leadership capacity and just need more out of them on a day-to-day, you would try to do that to appease your boss. We're literally seeing the opposite of that unfold here. Is it unfortunate? A little bit, but this is who he is. Like Rob said, he's the best player on the team, and you need to find leadership elsewhere because you're just not going to get it from him.
Yeah, I could dive as deep into my bag as possible, and I could not find a single care to give about this instance. Now, do I want this to bleed into he's missing every voluntary portion and he doesn't show up until June 10th? No, I don't want that. But yeah, it's your guys'
It's a
point.
realistic to do. Japan ain't close.
But even if it doesn't matter.
You're probably
And
not just going to Japan for the long weekend.
Now, is this going to affect the Browns' win total? Like you said, Jack, is this going to affect his sack numbers? No, probably not. I don't think it's going to have a correlation at all. And if you're Myles Garrett, you're the best player. I mean, what are you going to do? Maybe he needs... And listen, it's not like he was up late binge-watching the latest season of White Lotus and said, Coach, sorry, I overslept. I stayed up too late. Like, he's in Japan with his significant other, I think at least his significant other, and he's doing something he loves. Maybe he needs just a little break. And I know he said, well, he's had all offseason to take this break. As of now, this is one day. I don't know when he's going to come back, but I don't think it's anything to make all of this noise about. And I bet you if Myles Garrett didn't make this whole stink about his extension in the offseason, we probably wouldn't even be talking about this because, if I'm not mistaken, Myles Garrett wasn't on the first day of voluntary camp the last couple years. So this isn't something new.
Yeah, but I think you also, to your point in a way, you also invite this kind of criticism and these kind of things happening when you decide to announce you're going to request a trade. It's because you want to be on a winner.
It's all self-inflicted.
Yeah, 100%.
I completely
It's
agree.
all good, and then he gets 18.5 sacks and nobody's talking about it. So, I mean, really, I think it's going to, at the end, be nothing.
All right, well,
it does, as long it becomes something. If when is the mandatory? June 10th is the mandatory day. That's where it becomes something. If he starts no showing the mandatory day, then we're really on to something.
Well, they can fine you for that, right?
You paid him though, so now he's got all the power.
You get fined for that. So
you're right. He can actually sit and pay back Jimmy's money whenever he wants. He doesn't want to go.
Yeah, he'll be there, and that's what matters. This all is a whole lot of nothing. And honestly, good for we saw, like, when Baker started taking Emily seriously, and they kind of got engaged, got married, had a baby. That's kind of when he grew up and matured. Like, maybe the same will happen for Myles now that he found love with Chloe Kim.
I'm down to name Chloe Kim the sweetheart of Cleveland.
I know, Cleveland first woman. How about, like,
is that
Guitar Smash week one
Coco
Guitar
Smash.
Smash against Cincinnati, like Olympic gold medalist Chloe Kim, Myles Garrett girlfriend, go out there, smash that Bengals guitar. It'd be a lot of fun.
Well, somebody else
Myles
wasn't.
owns Joe Burrow too.
He does. Somebody wasn't at voluntary minicamp as well was wide receiver Deontay Johnson. I don't know why. Again, I don't really care.
What is he doing, though?
I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's doing work somewhere else. I have no idea. Again, he's a veteran, but he is in a new system. You'd like to see him there.
He should.
Well, you'd
be
think,
But
six
again,
systems in the last calendar year. Maybe you'd want to.
But again, it's one day. I mean, you're at this point, you're just reaching for straws for things to talk about because we're at this point in the season where there isn't really much. Something there is to talk about, though, is our quarterbacks. Obviously, the quarterback battle gets vamped. We saw Shador throw passes, Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel. Some people were keeping track of their stats at OTAs. That caught like wildfire. We got to see some throws. Everybody loves the grainy cell phone video footage of them throwing at minicamp. I saw some good balls from Shador Sanders. I saw some good balls from Kenny Pickett. I saw some good balls from Joe Flacco. And I saw some good balls from Dylan Gabriel. Where do the Browns go from here, guys? Because this is going to be a long quarterback battle.
Yeah, I think it's just about managing expectations and reps. And I mean, it's tough to say when you sit here on a talk show where you're going to talk daily about it, but like you do have to take everything with a grain of salt this time of the year. Like you're going to see, I mean, Kevin's talked about it 1,000 times now, like the batting order of how they're taking reps in practice every day isn't necessarily going to be how they're going to be rolled out this season or during the preseason. So, yeah, I mean, the one interesting note I guess I could take away from day one is that Shadur didn't get any 11-on-11 or 7-on-7 reps with the starters. He was the only quarterback of the 4 healthy ones to not do as such. But maybe today, the day the media's not there, it might flip and he gets reps and Dylan Gabriel doesn't. So who knows? But, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just like, yeah, when you end up drafting 2 quarterbacks, trading for Kenny Pickett, including a pick and a young quarterback, and signing Joe Flacco for a couple $1 million, like, yeah, you're going to have to find a way to ration out these reps this time of the year. So maybe, I mean, gosh, what if Myles would have taken Kenny Pickett out to Japan or something to give the rookies some more reps or something? At least got to be considerate.
The roadmap is just simply not set yet. It's going to be something that twists and turns and changes. I think we're going to still trade a quarterback, but regardless, you got your guys. You know what you're going to get from Joe Flacco. You got Kenny Pickett, who might be he's the safer guy. You know, he's the consistent starter, and I think they're just going to try to groom the rookies and get them as ready as possible for come later half season emergency. If things are going well, we got them as many reps as we could, and now it's time to see what they could do under live fire. So, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see.
Nick, did you fall in love with any cell phone footage?
Tinfoil hat, glass half full. Maybe Myles went to Japan to be the top storyline on the Big Factor and bury the story of the four quarterbacks, the chart, that was floating out there of the snaps and the completions and the touchdowns. That's what real leadership looks like. Myles knows that the quarterback thing needs to be worked out in silence. So he said, I'll take one for the team, guys, hand up. I'll go across the globe to Japan. Not going to show day one of OTAs, voluntary, and make the story about me, make the story about anything else other than these quarterbacks. I don't think any of this really, like voluntary OTAs, like these guys are literally throwing in shorts and t-shirts. Like they're installing stuff. They're getting back to Stefanski ball. They're getting back to what worked with Joe Flacco with the 2 tight ends. Like, I know it's the cute thing to do, to kind of chart the quarterbacks at practice and put it on a little Canva graphic and put it out there on social media, but it does not matter. Like, you're not learning anything from that. Nothing concrete, nothing substantial. Like Jack said, we had quarterbacks that weren't even participating in 7-on-7 or 11-on-11. Like, literally none of this matters. This is voluntary, organized team activities. Like, they play Ring Around the Rosie at the end of practice. Like, this is not serious at all.
Nick, I want to walk with your tinfoil cap for a second here, if you don't mind. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned how Myles Garrett probably wiretapped the Burke Lounge when we were talking about the show sheet for tomorrow or today now, what we're going to talk about on the show. Do you think that the reason that Deshaun went on the cruise week 16 was so that DTR could have just a full week to prepare and play without being in the headlines?
Maybe he knew. Maybe Deshaun knew. He's like, typically Kevin Stefanski doesn't tell DTR until the night before. So maybe DTR could read between the lines. If I'm physically not in the state or in the country for that matter, he'll know for sure that he's the starting quarterback and that it's not me. I'm going to completely remove myself from the equation. It's possible. I like it.
Good guy, Deshaun Watson. Maybe he's just misunderstood, right, guys?
Yeah, maybe we had it wrong this whole time.
All right. Well, we got to take a break. When we get back, the Oklahoma City Thunder, quick work of the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're headed back to the finals for the first time since 2012.
Oh, right. Can we do Diggs too?
Yeah.
I think
How about we take a break? We do Diggs.
We got to hit Diggs.
Okay,
Let's hit a break. Let's talk some Stephon Diggs, and then we'll go into the NBA Finals. We'll be right back on the Big Factor.
Sugar.
Hey, everybody, welcome back into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Where in the world is Myles Garrett, everybody? Looks like he's in Japan. I got to tell you about our great friends at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford, Ohio is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state. See right up there, employee pricing for everybody. You pay less than what they pay. Pre-tariff pricing on all Fords, over 500 in stock. Your dream vehicle could be on their lot right now in Canfield, Ohio, so don't let that short drive prevent you from saving literally thousands of dollars on your new ride. Fairway Ford is the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing and same hometown level of service. Go give them a visit today. Scan that QR code or visit their website, fairwayfordohio.com. Again, that's fairwayfordohio.com. All right, before we dive into the Thunder making quick work of the Timberwolves, Stefon Diggs, guys, coming off that ACL tear, he signs with the New England Patriots. Of course, their voluntary minicamp started as well. Well, he was not there, and there was a video that caught the internet by storm. Basically, if you haven't seen it now, I'm surprised, but I'll play the video for you guys so you can get a little look at this, and we'll come back and talk about it.
It's got Vikings party boat guy.
He said, "What my name, Daddy?"
Hey, hold that, girl.
Whoa.
What's this?
What's that? Is that Hubba Bubba? Oh, no. Big League Chew?
Well, he's handing them something in a bag, and I'm going to be honest with you. First thoughts, it looks like a little bit of pink cocaine. Now,
Okay,
I'm not one to make claims.
Ryan.
I'm just saying in my non-expert opinion.
Ryan,
That's
I
what it
got
looks
some.
like.
So we, as a show here, we're not going to jump to any conclusions or make any decisions on what Stefon Diggs was handing over to those women.
That
for
NFL
tomorrow's show.
drug test is
Yes,
coming,
that's
bro.
where they are. But we do have a correspondent here who could help us out. So we do have an 8-ball in the room. So we're going to ask the 8-ball if Stefon Diggs had an 8-ball. Okay.
Wow, I see what you did there.
Tough.
Inconclusive. Okay, so hey, we didn't learn much.
Okay.
We didn't
What
learn
a-
much.
what a
We didn't, but hey,
correspondent.
we took a try.
Yeah, I seen Cardi B on there too. You know, he was just having a little.
Isn't she dating Cardi B?
little fun on the yacht.
Yeah,
I think they're
so
together
so
now.
at least he was there with his significant other. So, you know, maybe nothing nefarious, nothing adulterous was
Yeah.
going on there. But you never like to see your receiver not at voluntary minicamp. Well, at least Myles is attending an anime convention with maybe his new
It
girlfriend.
could be worse.
He's
bro.
not dealing out what appears to be pink
Could be
cocaine
worse.
to a bunch of huzz.
I think there's nothing funnier too than Mike Vrabel's quote about the
Yo,
situation.
he was like, "We wish he was here."
Yeah, we want to make great decisions on and off the field. That is just the most like when your dad says, "Son, I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed in you." You know, it's one of those things. It's just a bad look. And like Drake May, second-year quarterback, like Stefon Diggs has been brought into multiple locations before to kind of be that year 2 bolster for young quarterbacks. It's just not a real good look. Keyshawn Booty, that's how you pronounce his last name, right? Did I say that right?
Booty.
Sounds good.
That's what I thought. Yeah. The Pats receiver. They asked him about Diggs being around. Like, is like good to have a vet in the room? Like, you're trying to crack the roster again this year, and he was like, "Yeah, he hasn't been here too much, to be honest with you." So, I don't know how many friends he's making in Foxborough so far.
Well, I think-
but he's making friends in
I
Cabo.
think it's safe to say the Patriots have one of the worst wide receiver cores. You have Stefon Diggs coming off an ACL tear. You have Jalen Polk. You have Javon Baker and that Booty guy that you just said.
I'd take it over David Bell, Michael Woods II, and
Man.
You need to put
This is
some
DeAndre
respect
Carter.
on
This
those
is the
fellas.
most wide receiver / maybe DB video ever. Like, I wouldn't expect
Yeah.
any other position on the field to do this. But I mean, you know, Stefon Diggs has his history. If you remember the viral video back in the day when he was on the Vikings, where they were all like, "What player or what teammate would you least like to date your sister?" And pretty much every Minnesota Viking said Stefon Diggs. So, you know, we're maybe gonna look into what he might be into. Maybe this is regular for him. They just happened to catch this Diddy party on camera.
Nick, you
I'll say
wide receivers.
I'll
with
say this
behavior?
though, like it's weird now because like the league put out a statement, like the New England Patriots put out a statement. Vrabel had to, say that they're aware of it and they're looking into it. Here's the thing: what can they do? What can the league really do? Yeah, it's a little Ziploc bag with some sort of pink powder, like. Hey, maybe it was a disintegrated Little Debbie powdered donut that he was giving to. Yeah, it's fun dip.
Yeah,
like
there was
but
some
I don't
blue
think
in
I
there
don't
too,
think
bro.
there's
Y'all never
much that
snorted
could come
Smarties?
of this. Like I know it dominated the internet yesterday, but there's not a whole lot that could come from this.
And hey, Stefon, here's the one thing I don't understand though. You're on a boat, presumably in the middle of the ocean, You're very aware everyone knows their cameras out. Like I would assume with his job and how much he's in the public eye, he's very conscious of cameras and when they're positioned on him. And
Bro, he's
when
daddy.
he has
He
things,
don't give a fuck.
But when he has things in his hand, I mean, how do you not take that phone and throw it in the ocean the second you're on video handing off a pink powdery substance to people?
Probably drunk, but I mean, he could
Yeah.
very easily, he could very
All right, fair
easily
enough.
just spin this and say that like he was holding it to keep it away from them, like they were doing bad or something. And he just
Correct.
Well, he did hand it back in the video, so he didn't do a very good job of being the.
Yeah, but then maybe they showed that they were okay, and he was just keeping it for safekeeping. I'm sure he's gonna have the best lawyers on this, if even needed. I don't know if
Yeah.
there's even
Yeah, I
a
think he's gonna
suspension
need
that come.
him.
Like I don't know what they do. Maybe a suspension, but like you can't really say much
No.
on this. So
Nothing's coming of this. There's because like there's no proof of
He
what was
didn't do
inside
anything
that
in
bag,
the
and there's
video.
no way to prove that. And unless they, drug test them, which I honestly think they've kind of peeled back on drug testing for things that aren't like performance enhancing.
true.
I don't think there's going to be much that comes with this.
I mean, cocaine's got to be performance de-enhancing, if anything. So they might even give you like a bonus if you have 100 catches.
Nah, that shit get you going. Josh Gordon. I don't know if Josh Gordon. He's more of a booze and weed guy.
Weed, man.
All right, we got to take a break. When we get back, we'll talk some actual basketball on the Big Factor. Thunder make quick work at the Timberwolves. Back to the NBA Finals. First time since 2012. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. Guys, Coke, highly illegal, highly addictive, expensive. Garage beer, legal, tasty, and cheap. Comes in just two flavors, classic light lager as well as classic lime. No frills, no bitterness, none of that IPA taste. Guys, this is just beer-flavored beer. You can scan that QR code or go give their website a visit, drinkgaragebeer.com, to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. Again, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. All right, half of the NBA Finals are set. The Oklahoma City Thunder make quick work of the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games. They win this one 124-94. Minnesota Timberwolves held to just 9 points in the first quarter. The Thunder back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2012, and Shai has had himself quite a season. Leader of a 68-win team, All-Star, scoring champ, first team All-NBA, NBA MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP, and now a trip to the NBA Finals where he could cap it all off with a ring and potentially a Finals MVP award.
Yeah, that was a game that you don't get to often categorize sporting events into this category. It's one of my favorite sporting events, like results, but it was a skull fuck, and you don't get that often enough in sports. 9 points in the first quarter. That game was over. You could have turned it off and went to bed. Probably gotten to bed earlier than most nights. I mean, that is.
It was like Ohio State Notre Dame in the championship.
Yeah, because that wasn't a one-score game with 3 minutes left, dickhead.
Score not indicative.
But
Score not
anyways,
indicative.
Yeah, how's Cincy football doing this century? Anyways, I digress. Back to the topic. We're not going to fight. We're all friends here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to get fed up with Ant a little bit, man. I love Ant, but like he comes out, he does a whole lot of talk, and this is 2 years in a row now. He's bowed out in 5 games to a player who had a better year than him. So
I told you guys I was on that after the last game, and then he came out and did the same thing. Radio silence, 9 points in the first half. Game's over. Honestly, the game's over like 5 minutes into the game. You know, other than Julius Randle hitting a 3 on one of the first possessions of the game, I don't think Minnesota took a lead after that. After they lost that early 3-0 lead, it was over. I mean, the West, honestly, the more I look at this, is really weak compared to the Thunder when I look at it. I mean, maybe the Minnesota Timberwolves don't even get past the Warriors if Steph Curry stays healthy. But when I look around, I mean, the Nuggets gave them the best shot because they have the best player in the league. But I mean, a lot of those teams are older. need to do some retooling, but I mean, that's the youngest team and the best team in the West right now. So I could see them going very far for many years to come unless some people make some good moves.
I mean, Tibbs also like turns off auto subs in 2K and just like lets those guys roll 82 games a year,
Gatorade
33 minutes a night. They got the Gatorade logo up. Yeah, so they were gonna run out of steam eventually too.
Kenny the Jet Smith said Tibbs wouldn't play 9 guys if he was coaching baseball. But dude, the Thunder are a buzzsaw. I don't know who's slowing them down. Also, too, like you look at their future draft picks, they have 2 first-round picks this year. They have 2 first-round picks in 2026. They have their 2027 first-round pick and another extra. Well, then they have both their own 28 and 29 first-round picks. And then I believe they have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 second-round picks
They're gonna
from now until 2029. So at least 20 total picks over the next 5 drafts. Like Rob said, they're the youngest team in the NBA. Like, as long as they don't mess this thing up and as long as they could keep kind of their core intact, the Thunder aren't going anywhere.
I mean,
we're going to be talking about SGA like Jordan in 5 years.
I mean, I get like the team is just so good though. Like he's had games where he shoots awful and he just shoots so much, but it's just they're so good on defense. They just come in waves of subs. They got all these guys, all this pressure, and I mean, they're perfectly built for basketball today. Much better built than the Timberwolves, and it's just honestly they got the system figured out. They could just keep adding young talent. They could go get a star if they want to. They got everything. They got picks. They got young players, and they're going to the finals. They got the MVP. They got it all.
You know, like the Getty images of like the guy holding his girlfriend's hand and like he's turning back around at the hot girl walking by. Like that's kind of how I feel watching the Thunder sometimes. Like having, and I love Mobley, but like Mobley and Allen, like you're comfortable, they're nice, but like you're watching what Williams and Chet are going out and doing, and it's just ridiculous. That's what you need out of your
Hardenstein is a much better center.
Yeah,
than
he's
Jared
nuts
Allen.
too.
And I think Chet Holmgren and Evan Mobley, they're very comparable, but I mean Chet's a much more reliable 3-point shooter. And then you got actual wing play. You know, you got Lou Dort, who's really like the best 3-and-D player in the league, arguably the best defender in the league. And then you got J-Dub, you know, just getting buckets on the wing, and MVP who's going to get you 30 a night. That's everything we wish we had. And, you know, their point guard's actually like 6'6", by the way, so they don't get bullied inside. But I digress.
Well, fellas, I hate to...
Here's the one thing that I don't want to happen, and I'll stomp out before the NBA finals start. Obviously, the Pacers need to, you know, handle business and finish the series against the Knicks. But the one thing that I want to stomp out, and I didn't see much of it when SGA won MVP, but I'm sure I'll see it during the NBA finals, was the fact that the Cavs passed up on SGA for Colin Sexton. Shai didn't want to come to Cleveland. He quite literally told the Cavs to not draft him. And that was a point in time, if you remember, where it seemed like LeBron surely was on his way out, and you needed to make sure that whoever you picked wasn't going to be a distraction. So I do want to stomp out any of the revisionist history before it starts about SGA coming to Cleveland, because 1, it would have never happened, and 2, who knows if it would have worked out the way that it's worked out for OKC, even if he did want to come here.
He's a monster. He would have balled out anywhere. Another nugget, we drafted Isaac Okoro over Tyrese Halliburton, so you can watch the finals happy this year.
I hate to jump to conclusion, fellas, but it appears the Pacers will be taking on the Thunder in the finals. Game 5 is tonight in Madison Square Garden. Knicks look to stay alive. Pacers, of course, just 1 win away from advancing to the NBA Finals. Let's just assume it's the Pacers Thunder. Guys, do the Pacers stand a chance? And if so, how do they beat the Thunder in a 7-game series?
They stand a chance, but I mean, they win if they could continue this unreal thing where they just find a way to win games on the road. They haven't been able to protect home court. They're not going to – if they win the first 2 games again in this series on the other team's home court, I don't know. But I think their only route is they're going to have to steal 2 in OKC. They're going to have to get it done in 6. They could only max lose 1 at home. But schematically, I mean, the Thunder are really just them, but honestly slightly better at every position and deeper. So they're going to have to stay healthy. Aaron Nesmith's going to have to pull up those shots that make people think he's sacrificing people, and he's going to have to go 8 for 9 from 3. Like, they're going to have to play perfect. But if Tyrese Halliburton's giving you 30, 15, and 12 with 0 turnovers, they got a chance versus anyone when he plays that well.
What's nice about this is it truly does like give me a glass half full outlook on the Cavs situation, because I don't like I can't fully stomach that the Pacers are this good. Like, are they good? Yes. I can't stomach that they're this good and that they're like an NBA Finals, NBA championship type of team. And maybe they mess around and win a championship this year because they were the team that got hot at the right time. And we talk about that in sports all the time, really across the main big three, baseball and basketball especially, is you want to hit your stride right before the playoffs and then be hot at your hottest during the playoffs. And the Pacers have done that for 2 straight years now. But I don't believe that they're that good. I do believe that if the Cavs were to make the one smart move or one small addition like Boston did, like Denver did, before they won a championship, the Cavs could beat Indiana. Like, it's not that Indiana is some sort of world beater here. So it really does give me a positive outlook on the Cavs because there's so much parity in this league right now.
I think what we're getting caught on here is that honestly we're better. Like, we have more talent than the Pacers.
But we just need to be smarter about how we disseminate said talent.
And we don't have but what they have is they have the genes. They got all the playoff risers.
The Levi's?
Nembhard, the Levi's.
Yeah.
They got Nembhard.
Yeah,
He's a different
fact.
player in the postseason. Aaron Naismith, different player in the postseason. They're getting contributions in key games from guys like Thomas Bryant and Tony Bradley. Tyrese Halliburton doesn't miss big shots. It seems like every time he hits a shot, it's a backbreaker. And Pascal Siakam's he's proven that he could come up and give you 40 in a game when you need it. So in the playoffs, I don't think we're the risers that they are. But if we could get a guy that puts everyone in a different role on our team, then maybe that could be the switch to flip. But as it stands, they just show that they're a better team and they play much above their talent when the moments get bigger. And we've got guys that kind of step down when that moment gets too big.
Me and Rob were talking about it a little bit before the show. I find it fascinating that now for the first time, Chris Fedor, who said that it's likely that the Cavs core 4 stays together, he did. So we'll lead with that. We're not going to bury the lead. But he said he feels like now more than ever, the Cavs would be at least willing to entertain conversations surrounding Darius Garland and Jared Allen. He views Donovan Mitchell as well as Evan Mobley as kind of the untouchables. But if there could be a shakeup, if there could be offers made, it would be for DG and for Jared Allen, which, Rob, to your point, those 2 guys are the 2 guys of the core 4 that go Houdini come postseason, and you just simply can't have that. Like, to Mobley's credit, the Cavs needed him to step up, and surely enough, with a sprained leg, he went out there and got 20. You know, like that's what I need out of Evan. But I can't say the same for Darius and JA this past postseason.
You at least get something out of them when they're on the court. And I mean, I've been critical, honestly, of Jared Allen a lot, but DG as well. I mean, you as a 5'10" guard, you have to go out and it's got to be 20 and 10. Like that's the only way you're going to be effective in the game. Because on defense, you're only going to be able to do so much. And if you're not hitting threes and your jump shots and your floaters, and then you're giving us like 4 or 5 turnovers, you're going to be a net negative every time. So, I mean, if they could make a move where you could just get another guard that's taller and is maybe more of a spot up 3-and-D, like, imagine we had a guy like Lou Dort in the backcourt next to Donovan Mitchell. How
Dude,
nice
like
would that be
when
right
the
now?
Celtics got Drew Holiday,
Yep.
nobody was like, "Oh, Drew Holiday is the guy that's going to put him over the." But
Ball
like
knowers knew though. Ball knowers
right,
knew.
But like they went from Boston went from Kyrie Irving with Brown and Tatum. You would think on paper on 2K that's a big 3 that's a championship contender. The fit wasn't there. The fit was there with Drew Holiday, who's not a better player 1-to-1 to Kyrie Irving, but was a better fit to help make the Boston Celtics NBA champions. And Rob, to your point, yeah, real ball knowers did know that was the complementary defensive bulldog that kind of Boston needed on the perimeter, and that helped them win the title last year.
All right, we got to take another break before we flip it over to baseball. But before that, hey, shout out to Garage Beer, guys. They announced their ownership position of the St. Joseph Goats, an arena football team. Garage Beer doing big things.
We got to get out to
Go Goats, baby.
What was it, Ryan?
The St. Joseph Goats. It appears as though
Where's
it's in
St. Joseph?
Kansas.
Oh, guys.
Oh, we got to get out
Yeah,
there.
I love to see America's Heartland.
Is that a flight?
Shout out Garage Beer. I remember when they had 2K followers, already up to 37 and a half.
How far is that drive to Kansas?
Kansas?
Kansas City.
Kansas.
Kansas
That ain't
actually
I've been to
Missouri.
Kansas City. It's a great
So
city.
I think it's like a 9-10 hour drive.
It's a flight.
Flight.
I've driven to Kansas City before.
I've flown to
do
Kansas
it.
City from Boston. Actually, nice
Hey,
little
Jack,
spot,
we
though.
should go to St. Louis. Wouldn't you know it?
Wouldn't you know
Wouldn't
it?
you know it?
Jose Ramirez, greatest Guardian on the team right now. 21 game hit streak. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor and the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan, Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson, Jose Ramirez. Hitting balls left and right. 21 game hit streak for Jose Ramirez as of May 28th, 2025. Guards avoid the sweep from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Angel Martinez, 3-run bomb in the bottom of the 8th to avoid the dirty sweep. Jose Ramirez is now hitting .318 on the season. He overtakes Steven Kwan for the team lead. Kwan at second, batting .311. What can you say about this guy, Jose, Jack?
I mean, there's. Do we have enough time to talk about Jose? I don't even know if we do, but I'm going to take a spin zone on it, though, Ryan. I'm going to take a spin zone on it. It is awesome to watch Jose Ramirez do this once again for what seems like the 10th year in a row, because it is the 10th year in a row. But we got to go get him some help, because it's a little bit embarrassing that he does this every single year, and we've never really gotten him a solid lineup to put around him. And this team, as it sits right now, I'm comfortable to say out loud, I don't know if it's good enough to win a World Series, and that's an okay thing, because our payroll
Of course it
is
isn't.
$200 million less than the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Yankees and some other teams. But there's a couple of things I think they can go out and do right now to help out Jose a little bit. Number one, Ryan, I want the Cleveland Guardians right now. Mike Chernoff, pick up that phone.
Nick Swisher.
I wish, but you're gonna call Arizona. You know that they have your number after the Josh Naylor trade. They're gonna be around. Zach Gallen, all-star pitcher, having an awful year so far. Has a whip sitting around 1.4, ERA well above 5, contract year. He's probably gonna get some decent money in the offseason, but I would give up. I mean, I can't say DeLauder or Kafis because you're about to see one of them, but I think you would be willing to part ways with one of your top 10 prospects and maybe another like depth possible piece guy, like a Schneemann type of prospect, to the Diamondbacks for Gallen, because I think that's the kind of thing where you can bolster this rotation immediately. And I don't know if they're quite ready to see Messick or if he's healthy, but yeah, long story short on how great Jose Ramirez is, Ryan, they got to go get him some help right now, because how many more years can he do it?
Well, you know what, Jack? It's good to see Nolan Jones get at the plate and actually hit something, no offense. But he came in for Steven Kwan and injured his wrist. I don't know I haven't seen an update on Steven Kwan, but he went on to have his best game of the year. 3 hits, 2 against lefties, actually, including the score-tying 2-run single during the Guardians' 5-run 8th. Jack, it's good to see Nojo get that average up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Creeping up back around the 2 now. So that's when you start, you don't get as nervous when you're looking at the scoreboard. But hey, I mean, he's a guy who, and again, the internet will come for you on this one. You go look at the baseball savant, that'll speak for itself on what is capable. But yeah, you do got to straighten it out and start getting balls down at a certain point. And you know, he's not a dummy. I'm sure that he looks up and sees like, hey, we got DeLauder hitting the ball well, Kafis is hitting the ball well. Like, there's going to be some outfield options ready here soon. I don't know if Will Brennan comes back to the roster or gets optioned, but he needs to play outfield. But yeah, I think he kind of felt that a little bit. You see, hey, you're going to get a chance. Kwan's down. It might be for 1 day. It might be for 2 weeks, whatever. You got to go in there and compete and perform, and he did. So maybe that's a good heads up and kind of start moving forward. And I was a little bit curious that he got some at-bats against lefties, because almost anytime you see a lefty he come up, you see Nolan pinch hit for Jonk almost immediately. But he is a guy who 2 years ago had an over 900 OPS against left-handed pitching. So
Do we know anything about Quan's status?
It seems like Quan is going to be fine. I don't think him or Lane Thomas are going to be requiring stints to the IL. But it is something to monitor because Lane Thomas has already had injury issues this year. So there's a chance that if this thing going on with his foot moves a little bit more or whatever, you could see someone else come up soon. But yeah, I don't think they're overly pressing right now for Kafis or DeLauder. I think they're going to wait until they make a final decision about Nolan Jones in the outfield because I think they like giving the kids clean amounts of at-bats. That's why, I don't get when Twitter complains about Will Wilson because Will Wilson is batting 7 times a week. He's not harming anyone. Yeah, maybe he should get pinch hit for here or there. But would you rather have Juan Brito take 6 at-bats a week or take 80 at-bats a week in Columbus? I'd rather him take 80 until he's totally ready to go and has a spot. So, yeah, I think Nolan's in a good spot for now. He'll probably be with the team for a couple of weeks here to figure it out. But Jonk's the one who I would not be shocked if Jonathan Rodriguez gets switched out for Jonk here soon because Jonk's not the kind of hitter who does well when he's not playing every day. He needs to be in the lineup and getting at bats, and hitting 12 times a week and striking out 6 of them coming off the bench ain't going to help anyone. So I think J-Rod would be better suited for those at bats from the right side.
All right, quick shout out to Cade Smith. How about the stat? Through 100 career games, Cade Smith has 100 innings pitched and a 1.00 whip. Cade is one of 2 MLB pitchers ever with 140-plus strikeouts, 30 or fewer walks, and 30 or fewer runs allowed in their first 100 career games, joining Takashi Sato back in 2006 and 2007. All right, series against the Angels. Hopefully an opportunity to get some fat.
The Guardian Angels.
The Guardian Angels.
Aniel are the Guardian Aniels, if you will, because Aniel Martinez, my goat. I'm trying to get Cody to work on a shirt, trying to get Cody to do anything. Take some time. So to be patient, Guardian Aniel shirts could be coming soon.
Ryan, I will say,
love you, Cody.
Before we cut out of the baseball segment, speaking of your boy Cade Smith, who you just talked about, incredible, the 101 whip. The next version of Cade Smith is officially here because Andrew Walters is back on the roster as of yesterday, rocking 91, which also I think is an elite number for a reliever. That kid throws gas. It is very, 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 very rare in baseball that you would not waste, but choose to spend a second-round pick on a relief pitcher. You don't see that often. Walters was the first guy up from his draft class to make the majors with the team, and one of the first in the league, actually, from his class as well. So let this kid from the U come up and throw some gas. It's fun to watch.
Jack, I'm pumped about this.
Walters,
I'm so pumped.
Should we stake our claim in the ground? Nick, you're one of the few people who will admit with me that they're on the Logan Allen train. Do you want to stake our claim on the Andrew Walters train?
Dude, I did. When I saw that he's wearing 91,
right.
I'm even more in on this guy than I was prior to, knowing that he was a second round pick reliever, which you hardly ever see. He throws absolute gas. You just look at him and his face looks like that guy is a Cleveland reliever right there. So yeah, I do think this is a piece of the pen that'll be helpful for this year. And I hope that now that he's up, he kind of stays up and makes his presence felt. But for sure, a piece, for this team for some time.
I will say, though, the last time I got real excited about Tribe Guards reliever, I don't know what they were at the time, I forget. Changing their number into the 90s was when James Karinchak pulled out the yoga pants and switched over to 99 and did Wild Thing. And then Gio Urshela, who had a career 322 OPS in Cleveland, hit a ball halfway up the bleachers in the playoffs to knock us out.
I will say, Jack, the last reliever that I was excited about was spring training last year, Pedro Avila. And I feel like Pedro was a hit. I mean, that was the innings eater last year. I know he's doing good things and making big money out there in the Korean baseball. What is it? KBO, Korean Baseball Organization.
Yeah. We also have we got Franco Ailman. Get ready for this name too, Nick. Coming up soon, probably about he was also hurt to start the year.
I'm not hip to this one.
Okay, this guy, when you watch his breaking balls, you're gonna think you're either cross-eyed or have my eyesight because they move, they dip, they duck, and he's got a nice fastball. He's a tall kid too, so this bullpen is in a really, really good spot. Long gone, in my opinion, will be the days of the Paul Sewalds. Whenever he gets back from the 15, I don't think he's going to be back on the roster. We're going young, and we're throwing the ball hard, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Andrew Walters, baby. Let's do it. Let's see it.
The only thing I could ask more is if you could throw J. Lou 50 out there in the bullpen. Give me a couple circle changes in the 6th inning. How about it? 50.
Come on, with a little Chris Jimenez behind the dish.
Oh, I was actually texting Chris Jimenez last night about trying to get him on the show today, but he could not because he has to do MLB Network radio right now, so that's why he's not here. But we'll see if we can get him in tomorrow.
You gonna let him just?
Actually, we don't have a show tomorrow.
He aura farmed.
He
on
did
you,
or
bro.
he sunned you. All right, we
Yeah,
gotta
he
take a
did,
break.
yeah.
When we get back, I guess somebody broke their leg, guys. I don't know the story, but we'll talk about it when we get back on the Big Factor. You know, I've never broken my leg before, knock on wood. I can't imagine it feels very good. Jack, you have broken your leg before.
Yes, I have.
And it appears that World of T-Shirts, a friend of show,
Just friend, I
Has-
think we could say.
has broken his leg.
Yeah, I would just like to offer out my tips and advice to our guy, World of T-Shirts. Actually, I must start this off as well by saying he didn't actually break his leg. He just thought he did. He did get up on 2 feet and stand on it and then walk and jog
promptly
around.
after.
He returned to football activities about 2 minutes after he broke his leg, so he is
He
okay.
Paul pierced it.
Greg
is
Jennings?
really what happened.
No, it was like Greg Jennings. Yeah, he literally broke his leg and kept running.
team
at
on
it.
my back.
Yeah, but no, it was pretty funny. He
Dude, Darren Sharp.
guys, what we have to talk about though is the way I view the history of Joshua Block. Rob, have you played NBA 2K25?
Actually, I did not play 2K.
Has anyone played NBA 2K25?
Nope.
No.
Okay, so they brought in a new thing called eras, which is like you play like the Kobe era, the
Okay,
Jordan
this
era,
was-
the LeBron
this was
era.
in other games.
Okay, it
Oh,
was
that's
okay. My
been a
apologies.
thing.
Okay, my apologies. My apologies. I had to learn the names of the players. That's why I got into 2K. But yeah, so you go through these eras, right? So Joshua Block had his Mayor Flanagan era. He had his Mr. Based era. Nick, were we there to witness the Renaissance, the start? Were we there for the Tony Bame era? Did we start the
We
Tony
were.
Bame era?
We were. People are saying we
Wouldn't
were.
you
He's still with
know
him?
it?
We were a
Yeah, he
part
dyed his
of
hair
the
like
start
blonde
of
too.
of the Tony Bame era. Like, and that seriously, Jack, has been kind of like we were the precipice of it, because who knows, had they not spent to refresh people, World of T-Shirts was at the Big Play studio. We paid for his trip. He did not get on the plane because he was too intoxicated the night prior in St. Louis. Jack and I received a late night text message from World of T-Shirts himself.
Oh, I got calls
that-
from Tony Bame at 2 a.m., brother.
that he was driving up. He was en route to Cleveland. He was taking a car from St. Louis to Cleveland throughout the night, and he'd be there in the morning for our interview. And surely enough, there he was. And it was none other than Tony Bame who bought him up.
This a
I will
military
say
base?
for Tony Bame and his pitfalls, and I think this goes for anybody that kind of like the handler of Joshua Block, if you will. Tony provides some incredible content, like the gym content that they filmed where the broken leg incident happened. Like, that was the hardest I've laughed at a World of T-Shirts video in quite some time.
Yeah, he's kind of a piece of shit person, but yeah. Besides that, yeah, no, he's definitely got some things working in his favor.
All right, Big Factor, once you know it, time is up. Huge shout out to Garage Beer. Huge shout out to Fairway Ford. I'm Ryan Tyler. He's Jack Rourke. He's Nick Bedoni. He's Rob Watson. Maybe back tomorrow.
Oh, is there rumors?
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. All right, everybody. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. If we don't see you
Peace
tomorrow,
up.
have a wonderful
A-town.
weekend.
See you.
Get all your grainy footage of Brown's training camp, and we'll see you next time. Peace.